Hello, guys and girls, if there are any girls at all. If that's the case, please send me a full body shoot of you directly to me, will ya? Oh, just kidding. I hope you've got many presents from Santa Claus, especially the things that you wished. Well, anyway, today I'll show you some games which were directly ported from the NES/arcades. Well, let me say as good as possible ported. Maybe not. You know, since I never had an NES, I can't tell you exactly if the ports are that faithful to their originals. But judge for yourself. Okay, the first title here is Castlevania from Konami, featuring the original title sequence, as you see here, and Simon Belmont, who makes himself ready to whip it good on the Commodore 64. And I must say that this port is actually pretty nice. You know, I've played the original Castlevania for some time ago as a port for the Game Boy Advance, and compared to this version, yeah, it's a faithful port indeed. It contains the original level design, the weapons, the enemies, and the music. But the music is, in my opinion, a little bit half-assed. I mean, it's the original theme, but it could have been better. Compared to other Commodore 64 game musics from this time, it could have been better, definitely. The controls in this game are working very responsive here. Up for jumping, fire for using the whip, and when you press fire a little bit longer, you use the weapon you have found. So you won't have any problems with it, especially when you've played the original game. The load times are not very long in this game. It's sometimes a little bit tedious when you're changing from one room to another, or go upstairs to the next area and you have to wait for a while to see what's next, because of the loading sequences. But beyond that, I can honestly say that Castlevania for the Commodore 64 is a decent port, which has its flaws, but it's fun to play. And moving on to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I think you people saw it coming. It's the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles port which was and still is not that popular among the NES gamers. You have to fight with one turtle of your choice through different levels in order to save the day. Like in the original NES version, you first walk around in an overhead view, and if you go directly to a server or building, you'll find yourself in the 2D fighting and jumping area that we all know and love. Like in almost every Commodore 64 game, the controls are also using the same pattern. Up for jumping, fire to fight enemies, and the F1 key to select your player. While your character's controls are actually very responsive in this game, the flaw lies in the fact that the turtles are tending to slide all over the place. Even if you stop walking, your turtle moves for himself a little bit like he would walk on ice. This can be very tedious at certain points, especially when you have to jump over pits and stuff. Also, the hit detection can be sometimes very frustrating. The graphics in this game are a mixed bag. While the backgrounds are looking pretty nice, the turtles and their enemies are looking very bland and flat. The music in this game, which is actually the same as in the NES version, sounds okay in my opinion, but like I said in Castlevania, it could have been better. Since almost every reviewer under the sun bashed this game to oblivion, I don't think that it wouldn't make much sense if I say the same about it. So there is my opinion. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a pretty fair action platformer. It has its controlling issues, but for a short waste of time it works quite good. There are many better alternatives to this indeed, but also much poorer, like you see right now. Legend of Cage. Reviewers like Jedi1 or Scene Baby gave their opinion to this god-awfully arcade port on the NES. But the Commodore 64 version of it is, believe it or not, even inferior. Like in the original, you are the ninja warrior Cage and have to rescue Princess Marion, Kiri from the bad guys. While the original arcade game and even the NES version have a certain feeling of speed, this game's speed doesn't even exist. Slow like puppets on a string, your enemies falling down, as well as your character. You might think that in this slow pace you would have a clear sight of everything. Maybe. But we're speaking here of a game with ninjas! Ninjas? Slow pace? Does this make sense to you? Speaking of sense, the programmers of this port must be out of their senses. The graphics are looking even worse than in the NES version. This game, you can definitely say that even Atari 2600 games are visually better than this. And this was made in 1986. The same thing goes also to the animation department. I mean, did you ever saw in your entire life an hobbling ninja? Not me, until Legend of Cage for the Commodore 64. The controls are basically the same as in any other version, which means up for jumping, fire for attacking, and throwing ninja stars. Music and sound-wise, there isn't much to talk about. The intro music is so-so, and the sound effects during the game are completely forgettable. My final words on this embarrassing piece of garbage: if you think that Legend of Cage on the NES is a piece of shit, do yourself a favor and play this. You will surely regret it, but you will also realize how bad other conversions can turn out. And you know what? I finally had realized that it really looks like we have a worthy successor to games like Skytwise and Artura. Let's go to the last and better port for the Commodore 64. Straight from the arcade, we have Shinobi. Here on our little 8-bit home computer, we have the exactly same story as in the Commodore classic. You walk around with your ninja in a horizontally scrolling street, beating up bad guys and rescuing hostages. After 2 stages you face the stage boss, which got a weak point on his body. When he's dead, you get to the bonus stage and then to the next regular stage. What we see right here is something that I call a faithfully ported game. The graphics are nicely done and the scrolling of the areas are smooth as cream. It's possible that some shots of the enemies' weapons are blending with the background, but luckily this won't happen that often. Many kudos also to the programmers of the controls, which are very responsive and well balanced. Up for jumping, fire to use your weapon, space for your special attack, and if you press fire a little bit longer and then pushing up or down, you jump on the roof / on the ground. Like in the original arcade machine, Shinobi is based on fast-paced action and reaction. Yes, this game is hard at certain points, but it never turns out to be unfair or completely unbeatable. If you like challenging games and faithful ports, I highly recommend this game to you. So, these were my 3 short reviews. Hope you liked it. And again, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Thanks for watching and see you soon.
Come on!